So it's really, really tough to remember people's numbers, right? You can probably remember one or two, maybe of your close family and friends, your wife, your husband. But when it comes to remembering numbers, everybody tends to rely on devices. And if you lose your device, then you're stuffed. So one of the things that we came up with is .tel. And .tel is a new top-level domain extension like .com or .co.uk, but very different in that you don't have to build, host, or manage a website to publish information online. So instead of giving out a business card with all my contact information, whether it be a telephone number or Twitter or my website, and a whole stack of things that we use these days, I can simply just give out my justin.tel to people. And when I come over to Singapore, for example, and get a local telephone number, I just change my .tel and people can still find me wherever I am.
Now that seems to make so much sense. Why has no one done this before?
Well, I think it's been tried before, and if you look at things like Twitter, for example, and you look at other initiatives whereby you try and put a name in front of other types of contact information, the problem with that kind of thing is it seems to be communications channel specific. So obviously Twitter is only used on Twitter. Your Facebook vanity URL, effectively, people can only access it if they're on Facebook. And so these kinds of closed systems tend to have cycles of hype and people use them and then they drop off and move on to something else. So what we developed is the .tel, and that effectively stores any type of communications channel underneath it, and that gets over the whole problem of having it tied to one kind of system. And because it's accessible globally, then it can be reached from any device in the right format.
You've just spent the last 2 days with ICANN, and they've just opened up some new top-level domains. What does that mean for .tel?
Well, ICANN has approved the process to be able to apply for a new top-level domain, and that means that brands can apply for their own, and maybe communities and groups can do that also. With .tel, it's very unique within the marketplace in that it doesn't compete with any other top-level domain. So it's not a replacement for a website. It's about making sure that all of the investments that you have online and within your communications channels can be published, used, discovered very easily. So for us, we welcome more people to the ICANN community, but we can work in complement with all of those other extensions.
Are you seeing any interest from either operators or VoIP providers to integrate their services into the .tel number so that someone would just have to click on a name to get through to someone?
Yeah, in fact today there are at least half a dozen voice over IP applications whereby if you typed in, say, justin.tel into the dialer, it will go away and look up the telephone number and dial it. So yeah, absolutely, we're starting to see that integration happening. We've got some really great plans going on with a number of telcos at the moment, which unfortunately I can't speak about, but hopefully this time next year when we come back and we have another conversation, you'll be able to see that in action.